Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Tokyo Tropic Turtles Draft to Glory franchise mode here in MLB The Show 24. So in last episode we had the entire off season, and we are up here pretty much at the start of a new season with our pretty weak roster. We did simulate the first 9 games so we could kind of get a basic look at what the draft class is going to potentially look like. And in between episodes, I went ahead and lowered everybody that we did not draft to a 1 overall. So basically, all these guys here you can see are the players we drafted in 2 episodes ago. So obviously we're looking to add some more good prospects to this pool. So in today's episode, we're going to be scouting out more of the upcoming draft class and getting up to the draft round for next episode, so that way we could start just going through these early seasons as fast as possible and building up a roster as fast as we can as well, so that way we could actually be competitive, hopefully within like 10 to 15 seasons. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I hope it doesn't take super long to get this team competitive. But anyways, before we get into doing that, let's get into the one comment that we have and see what the one comment has to say. So that is from State of the Franchise Gaming, who says, "It's not your fault that the free agent pool is so bare. There are players who are free agents, but teams still hold the rights to sign them. If you wait until spring training, it may not allow you to go into spring without a minimum roster. You could find players who are lower overall than 70 to 71s in the beginning stages of free agency. On one hand, it makes sense, but the other hand, it makes roster filling far harder, especially when the CPU pretty much sits at a 93 for most of the offseason. So they essentially hoard players and don't release their older minor leaguers. So that's pretty much why we weren't able to see any free agents till the later parts of the free agency pool to fill out a roster, but at least we were able to do that, and now everybody has been lowered. Also, I was talking to Nick in the Discord about who we should potentially draft and whatnot, and he was potentially saying that we should potentially scout out, I think it was Nomo, who is a catcher, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he wants us to scout out Charles Nomo, so we're going to definitely scout out Charles Nomo as one of the guys this season. And then he was also mentioning the pitcher, I can't remember what his name was. Let me see if I could find him. I think he was like the second best pitcher that we could potentially draft, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to remember who it was. It wasn't Matsui. I could always go to Discord and look, but I honestly don't know. Yeah, let me actually just open up Discord and take a look here quickly and see if I could find it. Oh, it was William Chung. That's the other one that he wanted me to look at. So William Chung is another guy we're going to scout out for sure. I think he might have been earlier. We'll definitely have him getting scouted, though. We have a lot of time to scout our players, and hopefully we can find some more good players that we don't even know about yet. So Chung should be somewhere, but right now we're just going to leave it as Brian Chu. And then these 2 scouts are going to still stay at this part for now. I did make a mistake in terms of which one I want to do infielders and which one I do want to pitchers, so we are going to swap the 2 of them when we get the opportunity to, because actually I could go cancel scouting assignment. I didn't even think of that. Okay, I guess I could go cancel scouting assignment on this person and change him to international pitcher. So we'll go ahead and do that. So we will do, this person is assigned to international pitchers, and then this person is going to get their assignment scouted or changed over to basically infielders internationally. And for the first 3 weeks or so, we'll have it on infield for him. Somebody's going to change over to catcher. Actually, I think we did it differently last season. I think it was only one person that was doing the changing between everybody, if I'm not mistaken. Let me cancel this for a second. This person's actually pretty good at everything, but the efficiency is not really there. So I could have this person doing the general scouting in every single area. So that's what we're going to do, and I'm going to change this person, Lombardo, over to individual players as well, just because I think that might make a bit more sense. So Lombardo is better with pitchers, right? Yeah, Lombardo's better at pitchers, so we will go to see if we could find any pitchers that he could scout out. We'll start off with the one that Nick was mentioning on Stan Nguyen. Stan Nguyen is one guy that we can draft, even though he technically looks white. He has an Asian last name, so we could definitely draft him because of that. It's a little bit on the borderline, but let me see if I could find that one that Nick was mentioning that we could get scouted out for the start of the week. And yeah, hopefully we find some good prospects in this draft class, because we definitely need to start making some headway in terms of building up that roster. So if I could find him, wasn't he a starting pitcher, the guy that Nick was mentioning? I think so, unless it was a different position that the guy was playing. Maybe it was a different position, because I don't think I've seen him. Let me take a look here. Look at every single position here. I might be just completely blind though, because I know he was like near the beginning of this. I'm just like paranoid now because I was watching Tugi's stream last night, and one player disappeared from the draft class completely, so that was a little bit weird. So hopefully that's not the case here, unless I'm just missing this guy completely. What was his name again? Let me just take a look at this again. Chung. William Chung. I'm pretty sure he was a pitcher. He probably, just because of all these prospects that there is in this draft class, I'm getting completely blindsided by where he is. Pretty sure he was a pitcher. And I'm not seeing him at all. I might be just completely blind though, because I haven't checked on this draft class in a bit, so don't see him still. He might be after Nomo though. Well, this is a strange start to this episode, trying to find this prospect. I still do not see him, and I don't think he was supposed to go that late. There's Walter Cho, but it wasn't Cho. We want Chung. Thought he was supposed to be in the earlier stages of the draft, but maybe not. Yeah, I think I'm just completely blind because I do not see him at all. Team rank, maybe that will help us out a little bit. I'm going to try and go a little bit slower through this. I think he could have disappeared too, though, which would be really weird. Yeah, it's very strange because I'm certain he was in the earlier stages of this draft. Unless it was Chang or something like that, not Chung. But I don't see Chung at all here. I guess I could scout out some other people meanwhile, because I do not see Chung in the slightest. Let me just keep going for a little bit longer here. Yeah, I do not see Chung at all now. And I don't know if he was in the last episode or not, but let's just go all prospects, and let's start with the guys that we can draft, which means we'll start with, I think it was Nguyen for pitchers, right? I believe it was Nguyen. Yeah, we'll start off with Stan Nguyen. Oh, not for this guy, though. It's for number 3. So we want Nguyen here. There he is. So we'll get Nguyen scouted out for the beginning of this as well. And yeah, let's continue simulating. A little bit of a weird start to this episode, but I could not find that guy in the slightest. Let's go for 1 week and see if we could find out anything about those guys. AAA's rotation, we'll just go auto fix rotation because AAA doesn't matter too much. Let's go auto on that, I guess. Auto on that because those aren't prospects that we drafted, so I don't care about them that much. Auto fix rotation again. Maybe I should put injuries still on auto because I had them on auto, but I turned them off from auto because we have prospects now in the system. Let's see what we got here so far. So Chu, 40% scouted so far. Could have a very high overall, but also could be a very low overall. Nguyen's looking pretty good so far, but he could also be a very big project pitcher. Interesting. Let's keep getting those guys scouted out a little bit longer, just so I could get a little bit more of a basis on how good they are. Let's keep going auto on that for now. Auto on that, because I don't care about these guys at all, unless it's one of my own prospects. Maybe I should have kept injuries on auto still to deal with them, because there is a lot of them popping up still. We still have not won our first game in franchise history, not a surprise up to this point though. Brian Chu is looking not as good as we were hoping, unfortunately. He's now 75% scouted out. And he could have a high overall with a low potential, basically, which is not ideal, but he is still decent. Like, he would probably be like a pick I would take like 4th or 5th round, maybe. But he could be still kind of an interesting player. But Stan Nguyen is looking pretty good if we want to find more starting pitcher help. I think I'm going to take Nguyen off here, though, and change for a different guy. Let's see, who else could I scout out here? Looking for more Asians. Nava was not. Looking at seeing what else we could find in the pitcher area. I should have probably wrote down a full list. I think I did actually write down a full list of who I could draft. I just need to find it. Oh, there it is. I think I found it. Okay, so I have a full list of prospects. So after Nguyen, it was Matsui who I was interested in potentially scouting out. Wait, yeah, Nguyen, Matsui. Cho was a reliever. Chung was a left fielder. Ah, that's why I couldn't find Chung. He's actually a left fielder. We'll get him scouted out for sure, but I need to find a pitcher with this scout, which means let's see if Matsui is still there. I feel like this draft class is kind of confusing me a bit. I don't know what the reasoning is on that front. There's Matsui. Let's get him scouted out as well. And we will take Chu out here. Chu's looking okay, but I wouldn't take him obviously with a top 3 pick. Let's go to left fielders, and this is where apparently Chung is. So I might have just made a mistake earlier on in the episode. Let's see, is Chung there? Oh, there he is. Okay, there he is. I thought he was a pitcher for some weird reason. I don't know why, but I thought he was a pitcher. Let's get him scouted out, and we'll change up the guy that's discovering people after a week or so, I think. We'll also take a look at our prospects and how good they're doing in this episode in like the system, which hopefully they're doing pretty decently at this stage. Okay, let's see what we got so far. So Matsui might be a project type of guy as well, but still might have a good ceiling, so we're gonna get him slowed out a little bit more. William Chung is still not I'm not really sold on William Chung as of right now. Yeah, he's not going to look like a good hitter, at least right now. He looks like he's going to be a good speed steal threat, but that's pretty much it. We are going to change this guy from pitchers to infielders and outfielders. Catchers aren't as super important. They are important, but at the same time, I'm going to leave them till the last little bit of the scouting period. Yeah, we'll keep getting those guys scouted a little bit longer, but right now I don't know if those guys are worth our early selections. So far, not really liking the looks of this draft class in terms of what we might be able to get with the limited amount of players we've scouted out so far. Okay, let's see what we got here now. 75% scouted. Okay, that looks a little bit better. So it looks like Chung should have at least a C potential to an A potential, but he's going to be a major project. So that's definitely a type of player that we would take with a late pick for sure. But he's not going to be that great of a player in the future, I don't think anyways, but still he would be a good late round selection because he's not supposed to get drafted. Robert Matsui's looking okay. Might have a high overall, low potential, but also could be a B potential. But he's not really worth maybe an early pick. But that's still not a bad selection, maybe. But I probably wouldn't take him as early as we have our own pick. Let's see. We're going to take a look at some other infielders. So let's go start out at first base, I guess, and see what other guys are out there. Raymond Park. Let's see. He's got maybe an 89 potential. Let's see if there's any other higher ceiling type of guys that we could go after. Not seen any so far. Archie Kang wasn't available to us, I don't think, at least. What else we got here? Second baseman wise. Oh yeah, Spencer Cato. Yeah, let's get Cato scouted out, might as well. And then Matsui, we're going to swap you out, I think, already as well for another pitcher, if we could find some. Let's go through the back half of the list, because maybe that's where we're going to find some steals. Let's go for people that might have a high ceiling first and see if they're Asian or not. So far, looks like a bit of a weak draft class in terms of pitchers. There definitely is options out here, but I don't think they're going to be super good, but we could scout them out in case. Oh, there is, wait, is that the Hayashi that we could have drafted last year? I think it is. I think it is, actually, yeah. This is the guy I think Nick wanted me to draft last year, and then he didn't go drafted. We're going to add him back to our list. I didn't want to do that. Let me go back to prospects here. But yeah, I think that was that guy. which is nice because Nick said he's going to be a good pitcher, so at least we might be able to take him in this draft, considering he went undrafted. He already has 48% interest as well, which is nice. So let's put Hayashi back on there and get him scouted out a little bit longer, just to make sure he's actually still that good. He might be actually a really low overall, though, which is not great. But he might be a major project type guy, but still, we're going to get him scouted out a little bit longer as well, just so we could kind of find out much more about him, since obviously we only scouted him last season. So far all the guys getting injured are ones that we have not drafted, which is kind of nice. So Hayashi has jumped back up now in 80% scouted. He's honestly not as good as we were thinking last year, I think. He's going to have a low overall for a 21-year-old, and he's going to be maybe a B potential, maybe a C potential guy. I don't know if I would take him, maybe as a late pick, but I don't know if he's going to be really that guy. Like, he does have the ceiling to be in a decent pitcher, but I think his overall being that low at 21 is not ideal. But let's take a look at Spencer Cato here. Might be a decent overall and a decent potential, but I don't really know yet. Yeah, so far I don't think I've found that type of guy I'm looking to get in this draft, which is not great. Let's go back to starting pitchers here. See if there's any other pitchers that we could find here. Let's go till we go to our guy that we were just scouting out in Hayashi, which was probably around this point, I think. Is there anybody else that's interesting in pitching wise? Jai Shin might have 89 potential. Still interesting, but I don't know too much about him. Let me just see if there's anybody else that might have a higher ceiling than Jai Shin. There's Matsui, who we just scouted out. Yeah, I think we got to go for Jai Shin here and scout at him a little bit longer. This pitching pool honestly doesn't seem the best, which is not great, but is what it is. Let's let Spencer Cato get scouted out for one more week here, just so we could kind of know for sure on him. Okay, let's see what we're getting at. We're 0-46. Spencer Cato's not looking that great. I'm not liking this draft class so far. I thought it was going to be good in the last episode when we were looking at it a little bit, but so far these guys, all the ones we've scouted, aren't looking great. But I mean, there's still players that we're going to be taking to build up this future of this team, so we got to hope that maybe one of these drafts eventually will be really good. But I don't think this is going to be the draft that changes the complexion of our team completely. Let's go to, I guess, third baseman here, see if there's anybody here. Let's see. There's got to be some more Asians, right? I'm trying to remember who else I wanted to scout out here. Let's see. Oh, yeah, Nomo. We got to get Nomo scouted out here for sure. Nomo was one of the ones that Nick wanted me to scout out, so let's add Nomo to this list. Maybe Nomo will change the complexion of this draft class for us. And we'll wait a week before we change the one guy that's scouting out random people. Okay, let's go week. Hopefully Nomo is actually good and not a bust as well. Or a mid pick, I should say. Auto on that, that's fine. Auto on that. Auto on that. Okay, 0-53. Nomo so far. Okay, he's looking still okay. Jai Shin might be actually not that bad, to be honest. He could be still a very low overall, but he could also be a decent overall with maybe a B potential. But he is still supposed to go and not drafted based on our scouts, which is not ideal. Let's change out him for a different prospect. Let's see what other starting pitchers there is out there. I can actually look at closers too and see if there's anybody in terms of Asian closers, which I don't think there was last time we looked. It does not seem like it. What about relief pitcher wise? Is there any relievers to scout out? Obviously, we're not going to take a reliever in the first round, but still it would be nice to know some later round selection options for our team. Wow, there's a lot of relievers here to look through. Walter Cho was one of the ones I was potentially thinking of looking at, but honestly, he's going to be maybe a high overall, but a low potential. I don't think he's worth scouting out, at least right now. Is there anybody else, though, that's better than maybe Cho? There's so many damn names in this draft class, it's hard to even know if I've... like, there's some guys with the exact same last name, too, so it's making it even more confusing. Let's see, Nakamura. And not looking great, to be honest. He's only 5% scouted, but I could definitely still scout out some of those guys, though, just in case. Because who knows, maybe some of them are actually better than it looks. That's not somebody you could draft. I think there was a couple more, right? Maybe not. Let's go back to starting pitchers. Who else did I have written down? Oh, yeah, there was also a couple more infielders, too, and outfielders. This guy could do kind of both pitchers and infielders. So you know what? We're going to change this guy over to second base because there is Yokohama. And there's also Yokohama in the outfield too we could scout out. So let's get William Yokohama scouted out. And Charles Nomo will get scouted out for a little bit longer just because he could end up being the guy we want in this draft. Wait, actually, did we want to change up our scouting thing? I think we did. Yeah, we did. Let's edit scouting assignment, change it to the... Let's change it to the outfield. Why not? See if there's any more good outfielders out there. That will get the other Yokohama scouted out a little bit, I think. Maybe not, actually. Let's see. Still is in every game, which is great, because that will hopefully help our draft odds at some point. So Nomo is looking maybe like a project too, but he could be a good power hitter in the future. Not the best catcher in terms of like defensive play and like blocking probably and stuff like that. But he looks like he could be a good power hitter, but I don't know if he's really worth that early of a selection either. But he definitely could be a good high ceiling guy, which is nice. Let's get him scouted out for one more week just so we can kind of guarantee that. And Yokohama, more of a defensive outfielder, actually not outfielder, second baseman, my bad. Not great in the contact area so far. But let's just keep those guys getting scouted out for one more week. Just so we can kind of get more information. Because I want to make sure on a lot of these guys that they're actually as good as they say. Or as bad as they say. Auto on that. And there we go. 0-66 now. Okay. Nomo is actually looking nice. Nomo's actually looking nice. His draft rank for us is 55th. It's still more of a power hitting guy, but he should have at least a B potential. B to an A potential, but a low overall. So he's going to be more of a project guy, but that's definitely somebody that we could use because we have all the time in the world before we can make this team good. He could also apparently potentially play third base, so he could be useful in a different area other than catcher. But his arm strength and stuff like that isn't really that great for a third baseman too, so Yokohama is still looking like maybe a project player as well. But he would be a very solid defensive second baseman based on what I could see. Let's change out Nomo and go to the outfielders because there was also the left fielder Yokohama, not just the one we're scouting out right now. There is also Wattenby, who's probably a high overall, but low potential type of guy. He would be interesting to scout out too. I might actually scout him out. He might be a guy worth taking even if he has C potential because that potential could go up if he plays good enough. Boyd Yokohama is not looking worth scouting right now, which is not great. I'm going to see if there's any 99 potential guys though. I do still actually like Walter Chung quite a bit compared to some of these other guys so far, but let me see here. Tom Lee. Okay, Tom Lee could have a high overall, so you know what? We're going to get Tom Lee scouted out. Is if that overall is actually like in the 70 plus range and he's got 91 potential, that would be phenomenal. So Tom Lee's going to get scouted out. Yokohama's going to get changed out as well. Trying to see who else we could scout out here that could fit us. We already scouted out Brian Chu. Who else did I write down on this list? I'm not really seeing much more new faces yet. Oh yeah, it was Wattenby we could scout out a little bit longer as well. I think Wattenby could be interesting, so let's get Wattenby scouted out a little bit just in case he's a C potential guy that's like 70 overall. Like I said, he could end up outgrowing that potential if he hits like a 326 in a season. Because maybe he's a good contact hitter. Maybe he's not. Wait, was this the week to change the other thing again? No, not yet. 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks. I don't know if I'm really safe like feeling with this draft class. I think it's going to be a little bit of a weak draft class. I think it's going to be worse than last year's draft just based on what we're finding. But honestly, who knows? Maybe we'll get a random steal that will kind of surprise us. Okay, a lot of injuries. Let's see what we got here. Still haven't won a game. Tom Lee could be a high overall. still, but ooh, that power hitting is intriguing. That power hitting is definitely intriguing. The speed and stealing as well. I think I'm going to Tom Lee still scout out a little bit longer. And then Wattenby, he's going to have a potential probably lower than his overall rating. But in saying that, he could end up growing that potential too. He could be interesting, but I don't think I'm going to scout him out anymore. I still would take him if I had nobody else left in the later rounds. Let's just go to catchers now and just see if there's any other catchers other than Nomo to maybe scout out here. To be honest, I'm not really liking this draft class in the slightest, but it could end up being a lot better than we were actually thinking. That is if our scouts are actually good too. Raymond Park, we might as well scout him out because he could end up being something. So we'll go another week before we change this out to catchers, I guess, for the final week. And then, yeah, basically we'll probably have to stop simulating a week before the draft again, just like last week, our last episode, or not last episode, 2 episodes ago or whatever it was. And we'll take an update, a look at our prospects and see how good they're doing at this point in time. Okay, so 0-79, we'll scout one more week. Tom Lee, high overall, low potential kind of guy. Similar to Wattenby, but a power hitting version maybe. I don't honestly mind this guy still. I don't think I would obviously take him in the first round. I'd probably take him in like round 3 or 4. But he could be a guy that just maybe outgrows his potential, which would be great. And he's also very useful. Potentially he could play in every outfielding position, which he probably should be able to, and then also first base. So we could kind of utilize him wherever. I don't mind Tom Lee. Raymond Park also might be in that same boat. Also a power hitting guy maybe. And he could also be like a high overall, low potential guy. Also with good arm strength for a first baseman. Could play second base maybe too. It's not bad. Let's change this over to, I guess, to catchers. In a way, I shouldn't always just scout out international. I feel like when starting next season, we should also scout out in the States too, kind of in a way, because technically we could draft anybody with an Asian last name. We could draft Asian Americans. So I feel like maybe I should just not scout out international only. I should change it over to like West, East, and Central and try and find those Asians in like Alabama and California and whatnot. So I think next season we're going to change up how we draft a little bit, or how we scout out at least, because I think there's definitely more to be had in these draft classes, but we're just not finding it yet. We're going to change out these guys, I think, for now, and see if there's anybody else we're scouting out here. Let's see. We're going to go back to, I guess we could go back to, let's go shortstops and see if there's anybody else here. Let's see. Anybody interesting? Does not really look like it. She was like the only shortstop. It looks like there could be a lot of high overall, low potential kind of guys that we might get in this draft. That's my guess. Let's look at center fielders and right fielders because we haven't yet. Damn, if only this guy was an Asian. This guy's going to be insanely good. George Fabregas could be a really good player, but obviously we can't draft him because he's not from an Asian country. But damn. Guillermo Soto is from Cuba, not an Asian. What else we got here? Any Asians in the center fielding position? Honestly, does not look like it. Damn, man. What about right fielders? So far, there's only been like left fielders that we could draft, which is not great. Not seeing anybody there either. Damn, man. Our selections are going to be pretty tough, I think, this year. Boyd Yokohama. Still, I don't really want to scout him out. I don't think he's going to be that great, to be honest. We got to find out a little bit more about some of these guys. Third baseman. Let's go through this list, see if we can find anybody else. I really hope next year's draft is a lot better than this one because I think it's going to be a tough time. Like, I don't know if we're going to get a single A potential guy like last year, but we could hope. We could hope, at least. I'm not really seeing too much. Yeah, maybe we should have scouted out the American places a little bit more. First baseman wise, what we got here. Is there like literally no more infielders and stuff like that to scout out? Not that I'm seeing. Okay, well, I guess we'll just look at pitchers then. We'll start off with, let's actually go to the relievers because we haven't scouted out any relievers so far, really. So might as well see if there's any out there. I think there was some that we didn't look at yet. See if we could find one or two. Oh yeah, there's Nakamura. Nakamura is not looking that great, but we might scout him out. Just until we find at least a body to scout out. Anybody else? Jeez, man, this is not looking good. Let's go with Walter Cho, and we'll keep Park getting scouted out a little bit longer because he's only 35% scouted out. So this is going to be our final week of simulation in this episode, and we'll take a look at what we've found up to this point, which I honestly do not feel like we've done a good job scouting here this year. But who knows? Let's take a look at what we've scouted out now. Yeah, Walter Cho is definitely not worth drafting. Yeah, he's probably a D potential guy that's 23 years old. Oof. Definitely not changing him or taking him. Raymond Park, though, is still kind of intriguing. He's going to have maybe a low potential, though, which is not great. But he also could be decent in some areas and outgrow that potential. But let's remove these prospects and see. Let's actually remove every single thing that we're scouting out right now. Let me take a look at what we've already scouted at this point. Let's actually go our team rank in the MLB, see who is supposed to go earliest as possible. Recommended draft prospects. Well, we can't scout out those guys because not all of them fit our bill. Let's see. So who's supposed to go the earliest based on our team rank right now? Stan Nguyen. Yeah, Stan Nguyen could be our first round pick, but the only thing I say that's a little bit weird is the fact that he's more white than he is Asian, but he does have the Asian last name. So Stan Nguyen could be a first round selection for us if we want to add more starting pitcher help. The next closest player after Stan Nguyen that fitted our bill that we actually have scouted out is going to be who? Jeez, doesn't seem like anybody. Oh, Charles Nomo is the next one. Yeah, Nomo would probably fall to the second round, I think, or a competitive round balance pick. But do we want to take Nomo as our pick in the first round instead? I don't know if he's a first round talent. That's the only thing. I would definitely take him in a later round for sure, though. So I think Nomo is going to be a good second round option, which means I'd probably go with Nguyen for the first round. And is there anybody else in the top 100 based on our scouts? Does not really even look like it. Which means this is not a great draft class for our team. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, we know that there's other options too out there that we scouted out. Let me actually see if I could just go all prospects and scout out who, or see who went before or in between. So we have Nguyen. What else we got here? We know that we have the catcher. Let's see. We know we have the catcher Nomo, who was after Nomo based on our entire league-wise. Nobody was supposed to go in the top 100, so I guess I could go to the end of this list based on our scouts. So the next closest would be Brian Chu, who's a high overall, probably low potential guy. So he could end up being like a third-round pick or something like that. But yeah, I think Nguyen has to be our first-round pick just based on how these other guys are looking. Raymond Park, another guy that we take at late stages. Tom Lee as well. Like, a lot of these guys are high overall, low potential dudes, but they could outgrow it, which is nice. Considering we're doing the potential boosts and potential drop-offs. But I think this draft class is going to be absolutely tragic for us. Walter Cho is not looking good at all. And that's pretty much it. So I think we're not going to have a good draft ahead, but who knows. Final thing, let's take a look at how good our prospects have been so far. Obviously, they're the only ones with overall ratings. So let's take a look and see how those guys have done. So starting off with starting pitchers, Parker Iwamura has been playing in Double-A. So far, he's having a pretty good ERA and WHIP. He is only 1-8, but the rest of the roster is trash. He has jumped to a 67 overall. I think he started as a 65. So he's getting growth. And he looks like he's been playing pretty damn decent, actually. Yeah, he's been playing really well. 9 quality starts in 14 games, and that's for on a team that's not that good. So shout out to Iwamura. Walter Jung has jumped up to a 60 overall, and he's playing great. He's playing great. 3-7. Obviously not on a great team, but at 2.23 ERA and a 1.15 whip, he's been really good. He has been as advertised. And he's got 6 quality starts, so not as good, I guess, as Iowa Murr in terms of the quality starts, but the ERA and the whip is really good. So both of our starting pitcher prospects are doing what they should be doing, which is nice. Tom Koo as a reliever has been okay. Solid ERA, solid whip. He is 0-2. That's not bad. He actually has played an MLB game because I forgot to mention that the game accidentally added him to our 40-man roster. So he actually did get to play a major league game a little bit. Like, he played only 2 innings, but that's all he played. But so far he's been pretty decent down there in AAA. He's up to a 60 overall, so we are getting some growth there too. In terms of catchers, Yamazaki has 5 home runs and 35 RBIs. Not bad in terms of the RBI department. Only batting at 246. How is his WAR at this point? 645 OPS, 1.2 WAR though. Can't complain considering he's only 18. First baseman Russell Yang, kind of struggling, to be honest. He is only a 44 overall though, which makes sense. He's batting at 223. 3 home runs, 14 RBIs. He is growing. At least everybody seems to be growing, which is a consistent thing. His WAR, though, is negative, so he has been struggling quite a bit compared to the other guys. What else we got here? Robert Yabu, 1 home run only, but 17 RBIs and a 264 average is okay. He's up to a 50 overall, but oh yeah, he's the deep potential guy, that's right. He's not going to really grow much or do anything, but how has his WAR been? Minus 0.02, so he's been a little bit bad, but not the worst. But obviously I don't know if that would generate any growth for him because he's a deep potential guy. Who else we got here? Do we have anybody else? I think there was one more player at least. Oh yeah, Vincent Seo. He's batting at 237, 6 home runs, 28 RBIs, up to a 50 overall, so at least he's getting some growth. Not the best start for him, but once again, he's playing on a bad team and stuff like that, so I'm not going to blame him. He's got a negative WAR as well, so a lot of our batters aren't doing the best, but I definitely say I'm the most impressed with, I guess Yamazaki's been the best of the batters, right? Yeah, Yamazaki's been the best of the batters. Tom Koo's been solid as a reliever, and then Iowa Murra and Jung are looking great so far, which is nice. Final thing I wanted to take a look at is actually the top prospects in the MLB right now, because we actually didn't do that in last episode, and I meant to do that, but let's take a look. Okay, so Walter Jung is the top prospect in the MLB at the moment. That's pretty nice. His ETA is 2027, so Walter Jung, the #1 prospect across the entire league. Let's see if we have anybody else in the top 100 prospects. The cool thing to know is you can narrow it down based on position too, though, which is awesome. Yamazaki's on 47th. That's not bad. Kind of surprised to see him above our first round pick. It's kind of surprising. Anybody else in the top 100? Let's see. Iowa Murra is down at 79. Iowa Murra has a pretty quick ETA. He's supposed to be making the MLB in 2025 based on this, but could be compared to the rest of our roster. But he makes his debut at 79. Anybody else? No. So that's our top 100 prospects, or the top 100 prospects. And yeah, you can see like our top 20 by organization. It's literally all the guys we drafted, and then the 1 overalls, which is kind of funny. They say Yabu could make it in 2033, but I doubt he even makes it. Russell Yang's still a long shot. Koo, 2028, not bad. Same year as Yamazaki. Seo is quite a bit of years away as well. Okay. And yeah, Walter Jung being #1 is really great to see, because obviously he's kind of what we're building around in terms of that pitching rotation for the future. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Tokyo Tropic Turtles Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to the year 2 draft. I honestly don't think it's going to be a great draft for us, but we got to hope that one of these drafts coming up eventually has some really good Japanese players, Asian players in general, to start building up this core fully, because obviously it's going to take longer and longer if these draft classes are weak as this one seems to be. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.